What is up YouTube, and welcome to the 5th video in the How to Get Brutally Strong series. And in this one we are moving on from double progression and on to dynamic double progression. So we talked about double progression and all the different kind of structures that you can use to set it up last time, where you change up the way you and intensifying it through like AMRAPs and total rep goals and top set and back off sets and things like that. So I'm just quickly going to summarize double progression, and then I've compared it over here with dynamic double progression, and then we're going to be looking at some of the cons and benefits of it, and we're also going to be taking a look at triple progression, which is the next step that you can use where you are manipulating the sets as well. So not just the reps and the weight, but also the sets, so all three variables at the same time. So if we start quickly recapping double progression, what we are doing with double progression is that, as I've written down here, all sets move up in weight together. So let's say you're having a rep range that is fixed weight, and start out doing 7 reps in the first set, then 6 reps in the next, and 6 reps in the last set as well. Then you keep the same weight, so you do 7, 7 and 6, then you do 8, 7, 7, 8, 7, 7, and then by the 5th training you get 3 sets of 8, which means that in the 6th training, the 6th week, whatever you want to call it, then you are increasing the weight up to 55 kg, and you do 6, 6 and 6 reps. So you can see here that we're not just going up in weight when the first set here hits the top of the rep range. We can do that if the purpose is that we are doing first set decides or 2 first sets decide, but it's always just going to be all the sets that move up in weight together. So the difference between double progression and dynamic double progression is that for dynamic double progression, a set can move up in weight even when the other sets have not hit the top of their rep range or the amount of reps that we want to be doing. So like all sets don't move up in weight together, we're going to be ending up using more weight for one set than for other sets. So what you'll see there is that, let's say we are doing the same again, so we get 7, 6 and 6, 7, 7 and 6, now we get 8, 7, 7, so instead of what we did here, where we still did use 50 kg for all the sets, and did 8, 7, now for the first set, we are increasing to 55 kg and only get 6 reps, but we are maintaining the same weight for the 2 next sets. So that's where dynamic comes in. It's dynamic because we can increase one set independently of the others. Then for the next week, the 5th training or whatever, we're using 55 kg for the first set, and with 50 kg we get 8 and 7 reps. So for the last training over here, we're getting 8, 6 and 7 reps, but the first 2 sets are with 55 kg now, and the last set is with 50 kg. So we got 8 reps in the first set, which means actually in the 7th week, the first set is going to be 60 kg, the second set is 55 kg, and the last set is going to be 60 kg, 50 kg, I mean. So we have this like actually really big jump in like how much weight we're using for each independent set, which is gonna be pretty crazy. Like it's quickly going to like be a little bit all over the place. But it also like the weight's gonna go up fast here, as you can see, like by the 6th training, like you're using 55 kg for doing 55 kg for 8, 6 and still like 8 and 6 reps and 50 kg for the last. And then in the next training you're going to be using 60 kg for one set already, which are definitely not going to be doing here until like quite a few weeks. So this is going to be more intense because you're not waiting for all the sets to hit the same amount of reps. So there's going to be more sets taken to failure here. It's going to be more like higher exertion on average. So as I've written down here, a set increases in weight whenever it hits the top of the rep range. Now let's take a look at like some of the cons and benefits of dynamic double progression. So let's dive a little bit deeper into dynamic double progression. First off, just by taking a look at the pros and the cons of dynamic, or as I've already written here, auto-regulated double progression, which I will explain in a couple of minutes why I've written that. But first of all, as I mentioned in the first part of the video, one of the pros is that the intensity is high, or this exertion is high for all the sets, because you are constantly increasing the weight whenever you are able to, and you're not just waiting for every set to catch up. So the increase in intensity is going to happen at a faster rate, and because of that, the average exertion is going to be bigger, which leads to the second pro. It is great for smaller muscles that can recover fast enough. So, for example, like arms or delts, something like that, like lateral raises, bicep curls, tricep extensions, those kind of things will definitely be able to keep up with this kind of progression. Now for the cons, we have that it can be hard long term, and that is because we are increasing the intensity harder, which also makes it more unsustainable, and you probably can't run it for as long as with a little bit of a slower progression, even though you're able to recover for maybe the first 10-12 weeks. If you're going to be running this for half a year to a year, it might be unsustainable. Then for the last one we have, doesn't work well for big muscle groups, so like the quads, the hamstrings, maybe also the chest and the back, things like that. Again, because these muscles have a little more time to recover and can handle as high of an average exertion across that many reps and sets. So if we take a look at like a way to use dynamic double progression and why it is auto-regulated. It is auto-regulated because performance on previous set determines the weight for the next set. Auto-regulation means that based on how you're performing, the weight changes, or based on how you're feeling. So if you're not feeling as good on a day and you can't hit an exact weight, you decrease the weight a little bit dependent on how you're feeling or how you're performing. So you're not just really scoped in on having to hit a certain weight no matter what if you're not feeling up for it. So let's say we have 6 to 8 reps for 3 sets, so the same as before. Then 8 reps means that we're going to use more weight for that set the next week, which is the same as I also explained on the first part of this video. Then if you hit 7 reps, it's the same weight for that set next week. Then if you hit 6 reps, you lower the weight for the next set, and we'll get into that. Obviously it means that if you get 6 reps in the first or the second set, obviously. So let's say in workout 1, you get 8 reps with 100 kg, 7 reps with 100 kg, and 6 reps with 100 kg. So That means that for workout 2, you're increasing the weight in the first set. So now that set is up at 105 kg. But the weight is kept the same for the 2 next sets because you didn't get the 8 reps. That means you are allowed to increase the weight for the set next week. But now you get 8 reps in both sets here. So for the third week, you get 8 with 105 kg. But then you only get 6 reps with 105 kg. What did I just say? If you get 6 reps, lower the weight for the next set. So even though you got 8 reps with 100 kg, we can see that you're starting to fall out of the rep range, which means that you're going to lower the weight to 100 kg and perform a set there to make sure you can get enough reps. But if you can then manage to, as you see over here again, actually hit more than 6 reps in the second set, you're going to increase the weight, keep the weight the same at 105 kg for that third set, because we have shown that you can do 8 reps with 100 kg. So this is just to make sure that you're not falling out of the rep range if you're not feeling capable of it one day. If you're having a day where you don't perform as well or not feeling up for it, then you can always increase the goal weight again as soon as you're really feeling up for it. So in that way it becomes autoregulated basically. Now this is all for double progression. Let's take a look at what triple progression is. For the last part of today's video, we are going to be diving into triple progression. So as I explained just a little bit, triple progression means that we are manipulating all 3 variables of sets, reps and weight. So as I've written down here in the corner, you increase the sets, then you increase the reps, and then you increase the weight. This is the order you want to do it in, because that way you are first adding volume really fast, which comes into, like, I will come into in later videos why that is important. But like, one of the reasons is that you want to build up weight capacity, etc. before allowing yourself to lift more weight or do more reps. You want to build up weight capacity, which is easiest done by increasing the sets, because that is the fastest way to increase the workload throughout our training session. After that, as always, start away from failure. This is non-negotiable. I've mentioned this for everything that I have told you so far, all the progressions that we have been through so far. This is non-negotiable. And then for this one, you're actually going to be taking big jumps. So because you're building up so much in workload by going up in sets and then reps before increasing the weight, it allows you to take bigger jumps. So I've written out a 10-week progression here. This might be 5 weeks, it could be 10 weeks as well, if you're only doing it once a week. So for the first session, you start out performing 3 sets of 8 with 100 kg. So for the next session, you do 4 sets of 8 with 100 kg. Let me just write in here, this is 24 reps. We have 24 reps here. Then we have 32 here. Then we have 5 sets of 8 with 100 kg, which is going to be 40 reps here. Then we are starting to increase the amount of reps that we're doing, because now we have built up in sets. So we're about to increase the number of work that we're doing by going up in reps now that we have built a good base with the weight. So this here is going to be 43 reps. And then we have 45 over here. Then going down here we have 47 reps. Now we are doing a a couple sets of 10. Then we have 49. And then for this one we have 50 reps. So now we have 5 sets of 10. We're going to drop the weight back to 3 sets of 8. So we are lowering the total workload by a huge amount, which allows us to increase the weight and build back up again. So again, 24 reps here, 32 reps, and then so on up again. But what I want you to notice is that we go from 24 reps and all the way up to 50 reps. So just over, let's say, like 7 to 10 workouts, something like that, depending on how fast you are progressing this. We're going from 24 to 50 reps, more than double the amount of volume. And that is only possible because we are building up in steps as well. If you are just going up by reps and then weight and reps and weight and reps and weight, we would not be able to increase the workload because just increasing the reps alone becomes way too intense, and you can't just go from 8 to 16 reps with a weight in 10 weeks unless you're a beginner. That's going to be hard, but it's definitely possible to go from 3 sets of 8 to 4 sets of 8 to 5 sets of 8 and so on to 10 sets of 8, even though you're doing more work than you would be doing from going from 8 to 16 reps. This is even bigger increase in reps. It is going to be a lot easier to do this type of progression because it's a lot easier to add steps than it is to add reps, and it's a lot easier to add reps than it is to add weight. So overall it becomes a really good way to train. The only problem can be that it becomes monotonous in the long run. As I've written down here, it becomes monotonous because there's no way to really mix it up. Like with double progression, we have the opportunity to do different things with the structure, as I talked about in that video. But we can't do that here. We can only just do it in this one way. And it's also very slow, and this is in itself, it's not a con, but for some people that attracts them away, moves them away from using this exact progression. Though I know people like Mark Boucher, who is a big figure in the fitness community. He's a big fan of triple progression. If you look at the pros, you can see I've written a lot of pros, and that's because I believe this is actually really good. I used triple progression when I worked up and hit a 105 kilo overhead press myself. So the pros are that it's extremely simple. You just add reps, add sets from 3 to 5 sets, and then you go from, let's say, 8 to 10 reps, and then you drop the reps down and the sets down and increases the weight, and you repeat. Even brain damaged people could do this type of stuff. It's also a pro that it's a slow progression because it makes it sustainable, and you get the chance to really master weight because you're working with the same weight for many workouts in a row, while with double progression or dynamic double progression, you might only work with the same weight for like 4 or 5 weeks. Here you might work for the same weight with 10 weeks, which is totally fine. And it allows you to build up the capacity in the tendon and all of that stuff to catch up before you increase the weight. And as I mentioned, you're volumizing, which when we are getting into periodizing territory, because that's what we're going to talk about in the next video, that becomes extremely important for building a base before moving into intensification, where we are more focused on just increasing the weight. So when we're volumizing, we are really focusing on the sets and the reps, because that is the fastest way to increase the total amount of work that we are doing. Let's say that you go from 2 to 4 sets, that is a double workload. If you go from, let's say, from 5 to or 4 to 6 reps, that is a 50% increase in workload. If you go from 100 to 110 kg, that is only a 10% increase in workload, though that is going to be just as hard as going from 2 to 4 sets or from 4 to 6 reps. Actually, I would say a 10% jump up in weight is going to be even harder, though the total amount of work you're doing is going to be actually less, or the increase in at least is going to be less. So you're able to get a lot more work in by volumizing, and that is the focus when we're building a base. Before getting more specific, the increase in workload that we can handle are going to allow us to increase the weight faster without getting injured and build up to a 1 rep max in a safe manner. So that is all for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all of you that are leaving comments, leaving likes, telling me how much you are enjoying my videos and getting out of them. Let's make it to 1,000 subscribers so I can give you guys something back in terms of the free handstand push-up program. I hope to see you all for the next one. I'm out.